My husband is insisting that we impregnate his friend after finding I am unable to conceive. He waited until I'd been home from a 36-hour shift for less than an hour. I remember thinking that was either very bad timing or very deliberate timing, and I couldn't decide which was worse. He sat me down at the kitchen table with the specific energy of someone who has been rehearsing. Then he told me he'd found a solution. Some context. 8 months ago, I found out that carrying another pregnancy was, for all practical purposes, no longer possible. We'd lost our son at 7 months. The complications that followed closed a door that I hadn't fully decided I wanted open yet, which is something I've only been able to say out loud to my therapist and now apparently to the internet. I'd spent the pregnancy working through feelings I'm not proud of. By the end, I was ready. By the end, it was already over. My husband grieved differently. Harder on the surface, more directed, looking for somewhere to put it. Like, I understood that. I watched it happen and I gave him room because grief doesn't follow a schedule, and I loved him, and he was in pain. What I didn't know was where he'd been putting it. But the solution he presented involved a woman from his office. I'll call her Renata. She knew, he told me, about everything. The loss, the complications, my recovery, our finances, the cost of surrogacy, the cost of adoption, the particular math of why all of it was currently out of reach. She'd offered to help. Egg donation and surrogacy combined. No agency fees, no waiting lists. I asked what the arrangement would involve. He told me. I sat with that for a moment, the way you sit with a diagnosis you saw coming but hoped you'd misread. Natural conception, he said. Her preference. To keep it personal. He'd followed up with her the next day, he said, when they were both sober. He offered that detail voluntarily, which meant the drinks were relevant, which meant I was being given the edited version and knew it. And she'd responded that she would love to have his baby. That was the word she used. His. I am an emergency physician. I have delivered genuinely terrible news to people in the worst moments of their lives, and I know how to keep my face neutral while my mind is already 3 steps ahead. I used that skill at my own kitchen table. I told him I wasn't comfortable with it. He told me that having a family with him was non-negotiable. That this woman wanted to help us. That he wouldn't mind doing it her way. That we couldn't afford any other option. That he had stood by while I built my career, had been patient, had waited, and that I owed him this willingness in return. He said I love him, don't I? He said I want a baby, don't I? I went to work the next morning and thought about it for 16 hours between patients. I went to work, then I came home and told him the truth, methodically, in order, the way I present a case. That I was not comfortable with this arrangement, and that would never change. That the woman he described was not offering us a gift. That the details he'd shared with her over the past months, our intimacy, my grief, my complicated feelings about the pregnancy, the state of our marriage, were not his to give. That I'd been betrayed before anyone touched anyone. That the word he'd used was forgive. When he told me he forgave me for losing our son, and I needed him to understand what that word had done when it landed. He went quiet. Then he said he hadn't meant it like that. I told him I knew. I also told him I needed him to understand how it had arrived. He asked if I was going to leave him. I said I didn't know yet, which was honest, and honesty was apparently what we'd both been failing at for over a year. He resigned from his job the following morning without telling me first, changed his number, blocked her across everything, showed me what there was to show me, which told most of the story, and let me read the rest in the gaps. Her messages were architectural, designed, patient, built over months. She'd insulted me in writing while expressing concern for him. She talked about conceiving his child like it was a reservation she'd already made. He hadn't corrected her. That's what I kept coming back to. He'd found someone who thought my career made me cold, who thought my grief made me undeserving, who thought she could give him something I couldn't. We're in therapy now, both individually and together. It's slow. Some sessions I leave feeling like we're rebuilding something, and some sessions I leave feeling like I'm assessing structural damage without knowing yet if the building can stand. He said last week that he just wanted to build a family with me. I believe him. We lost a son. We nearly lost each other over the ghost of him. I don't know what we'll decide about children eventually. That question feels far away, and I'm learning to let it be far away. What I know is that the door my husband almost walked through was not the door he thought it was. I know because I read her messages. I know because I'm a doctor, and I understand exactly what it looks like when someone has already made a decision and is simply waiting for the paperwork to catch up. She wasn't offering us a baby. She was just very patient about what she actually wanted.